Welcome back, everybody, to the Word Around the Ring podcast, and we're all wishing you a very happy New Year's. My name is Big Rob, and I'll let my tag partner introduce himself.
I'm King Jess, and we're the only podcast that was live both from the arena and a pizza parlor on Monday. Now, we can sit here and we can review Raw like always, but I don't know if you'd agree, this was not a normal episode of Raw. Not only was this the first episode of Raw on Netflix, but we both had two very different experiences of the product this week. You were blessed enough to attend the event in person, and I got to experience what it will be like getting Raw on Netflix week by week. So let's kick this week's episode off by giving our scores for the episode in general, and then let's go segment by segment, breaking down not only what it was like to be there, but also what it felt like to watch on Netflix. Did anything change, or is Raw just the same on Netflix? So, what would you give this week's episode of Raw from 0 to 5 stars?
As you mentioned, I was definitely blessed to be in the arena. Still feeling the effects of that. My voice is a little shaky. Great time was had. Out of 5 stars, I would give the debut episode of Raw on Netflix 3 stars out of 5. I'll be happy to get into it a little bit more details in a bit. I'm curious to hear what you thought of the show and how many stars you gave it out of 5.
Yeah, I would say this is what I expected from an episode of Monday Night Raw. I kind of felt like we were getting a big fight feel for everything just off the promotion, but I guess that's just, they were just trying to garner that hype up for the first episode on Netflix. But I'm with you. I think I would give this like a 3.5 to 4 stars. I feel like some of the matches were really good. Other matches, there was a little bit left to be desired, and I wasn't really happy with the finishes on two of these matches. But overall, I would say it was an okay episode of Raw. But that hype, that big feel of it finally being on Netflix, I think carried the show over the night.
I would agree. I agree with that sentiment. I think the hype was there. Like being in the building was fucking dope. I had an amazing time. Luckily I was blessed to go with one of my good friends, Alberto. Shout out to Alberto. We had a great time together. But the energy was in the building, man. Like everyone was so excited from the moment you walked in. We got there at around 3:30. With the doors opening, set to open at 3:30. We got there as the doors hadn't opened up yet. There was a huge line outside, so people were anxious. You could just feel the energy as we were waiting to get let in. As soon as doors opened up, it just went crazy. Everyone just got excited. We made our way through the arena. Everyone was in line for merch, or they had different um, little sections. Like I think I saw people being able to create their own entrances or like copy their favorite superstars' entrances, get it recorded and sent to them. So they had a lot of cool shit going on in the arena for fans to enjoy and interact with superstars as well. So it was really dope. In terms of the show and content itself, I was just a little disappointed. I felt like the hype was there, the crowd was there, and don't get me wrong, I think there were fantastic segments throughout, and I'm excited to speak on some of them. But in its totality, I was just expecting a little bit more, maybe on the wrestling side, maybe in terms of progressing storylines, maybe in terms of just a few more surprises. But I just felt I just left feeling like there was more to be desired, and there was more and I was just expecting a little bit more. But happy to go into a little bit more detail. I know it may be different for you being able to see it on TV. You got the live commentary, which I'm sure added a great element to it. I still have yet to go back and watch it live with Pat McAfee's commentary. He was there. This is his first time being back, so I need to go back and listen to some of his coverage on the matches. But all in all, experience wise, it was fantastic. The energy in the building was insane. I think it came through from the beginning when we saw Triple H make his appearance. But the energy in there was just a blessing to be a part of. But curious to hear how you took the whole show. What maybe some of your favorite segments were. Any hot topics that you wanted to dive right into from the debut episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix.
Well, before we jump into the episode, I think you covered. I had a couple of questions of like, what were the vibes? What was available for you guys to do? But you pretty much covered all that. I do want to know. This was the first time that they did it at the Intuit Dome. I think that's how you pronounce it. And
Yep.
everyone's been hyping this fucking arena up.
Up.
Was it everything it was hyped up to be? Is it all the jazz? Is it the bells and whistles that everyone talks about?
This fucking arena, man. It's insane. Steve Ballmer, shout out to Steve Ballmer. I'm a Laker fan. We rock with Staples Center and what is now known as crypto. But man, into a dome, probably the sickest fucking arena that I've been to because so before you even get in the arena, they tell you a million times through email, hey, make sure you download the Clippers and Into a Dome app because you're going to need it to interact in the stadium. Of course, you go ahead and do that. And then you get on the app, they ask you to do the face scan ID shit, ask you to add your payment method to your app, et cetera, et cetera. Just taking care of basic things. If you're going to be drinking alcoholic beverages, they make sure you check, they scan your ID to make sure you're over 21. So they have it all set up before you even step foot into the arena. When you get to the arena, I thought, I'm of the understanding I'm going to pull out my phone, my Apple Wallet, show my ticket, get scanned in. They're like, nah, put your phone away, bro. Put your phone away. You don't need it. We got face scans all over this building. So you walk in, you don't even got to show um you don't have to show anyone your ticket. You just walk in because they have facial cameras or scanners wherever all across this fucking building. So they know that you belong there. They know that you belong there because your face has been assigned the ticket that has been assigned to your app on your phone. It's fucking crazy. Then you walk in and you see all these different little like almost like mini markets where you can pick up different types of food, popcorn, chicken tenders, any like stadium food you can imagine. Alcohol as well, soda, whatever. So mini marts all across the stadium where you just walk in. Before you walk in, there's another little camera that scans your face. If you've already inputted your payment information on the app, you're good to go. You just go in there, grab whatever you want, walk out, and you will get charged the exact amount from the things that you grabbed. It was crazy. I was a little nervous because I was, what if I grab a chicken tender, I put it down like the boxes? What if I put the chicken tender box down? Am I gonna get charged or whatever? But I checked the receipts back, everything came back correct. That experience itself was fantastic. And then the restrooms. They said that the goal is to, have you seated for the majority of the time. At no point did I feel like I waited more than 30 seconds to use the restroom. And if I had to wait, that may have been
What?
during prime time before the show started and after the show had concluded when everyone was rushing home. But throughout the show, they have so many restrooms. Man, it was insane. I feel like I spent the majority of my time in my seats, and that was great. The only time I really had to interact with anyone was when I was buying merch because the merch stands are separate. That's a WWE thing. And when I was buying alcohol, of course, from a bartender for a mixed drink, something along those lines. But besides that, it was the easiest, smoothest experience I've ever had. And I've had some shit experiences like SummerSlam 2021, I think it was at the Allegiant Stadium. I remember that stadium fucking their credit card machines weren't working, so people couldn't buy food, drinks for half of the event. I remember that shit like it was yesterday. They started giving out waters because people were in there dying of thirst. So the fucking Into a Dome. I'm sorry, I just cut a promo on Into a Dome, but that stadium, if you have a chance to go, I recommend you go for whatever reason. If you get $10 Clipper tickets because they suck, do so because it's a fun experience. But Into a Dome itself, probably the best stadium I've been in all of in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly what I wanted to hear because I mean, I want to go to it one day. I haven't gotten the chance to attend an event there, but it looks cool. They have like all these little lights around on like I think they're on like the seats that like interact with the show. At
Yes.
least like we saw it throughout the show. I don't know if you guys could see it like from across the venue, but they had all these little lights that were on the chairs and they interacted. And people have told me about the whole facial recognition and not having to need tickets. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, this is high tech. This is I'm like I thought we were getting high tech when you could do the Amazon Fresh and Go. You just pick something up and leave it, it
Yeah.
charges you. But this Intuit Dome takes
Yeah.
it to the fucking next level. So I'm excited. I'm excited to
Yeah.
try to attend a show there. Hopefully, it'll be a wrestling event in the future. But let's get straight into it. We have Monday Night Raw on Netflix finally happened. We gotta talk about. We started off the night by opening it up with the new cold open. I know you and me earlier that day we had watched the cold open on social media. I want to get your thoughts. Did you like this cold open? Did you? Did you cry during the cold open? Did it get you emotional? Because this was like the legacy of WWE wrapped up in one video. And personally, I thought it was phenomenal. So I would love to get your take on the cold open first, and then we'll get into how it came off in the arena.
Definitely. I love the cold open. When I sent it to you like 10 a.m. that morning, we got it. It was already put up by WWE. I thought it was great. It was a great way to, literally paint the picture of what wrestling has been in the WWE for the last 20 years. They showed us all the highlights, taking us back to Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, into the um, Attitude Era with the Stone Colds, the Rocks, Triple H, into Ruthless Aggression with Randy Orton, John Cena, Undertaker, and it just painted this picture of what the WWE is, and why the fans love it. And it was great to see. It was a fantastic 3-minute video package, in a cold open, as you mentioned. In terms of tears, it didn't bring any tears to my eyes, but I was definitely excited watching it because I knew I was going to be in the arena that night. So I was excited. I was amped. And I was just excited because I felt like this is a great 2-minute introduction for anybody who's going to be watching Raw for the first time on Netflix, which I thought that was their goal. The cold open was fantastic, and watching it in the arena when the show started, when it hit 5 p.m. Pacific time, they put the screens up. So there was the screens covering the middle of the ring. We couldn't see the ring itself. We just saw the screens, which was playing the cold open. And as soon as it finished, it dropped, and Triple H was revealed to be standing in the middle of the ring. He introduced the show, and the energy in that building when that cold open finished, Triple H asked us if we were ready. It was unmatched. It was fantastic. And I really did enjoy the cold open, and whoever they hired as a videographer for that, and whoever edited it, phenomenal fucking job. I hope they get a little bonus at the end of this month's pay, because they absolutely destroyed it. And I thought it was a fantastic introduction for anyone who was first watching.
Yeah, I'm with you. I love this cold open. I think it shows the legacy of what WWE is really well for the new people, and it's something that I think that's where I kind of got emotional watching this that morning was when Triple H says, to anyone new, welcome home. Like that kind of shit, we've been watching wrestling for a long time. We know how special it is, but it's getting so many new eyes now being on Netflix. There's going to be so many new families and kids that pick up the product that have never seen it before, and it was a phenomenal way of introducing them to what's to come. And I really do hope that Netflix or Raw on Netflix is something huge, and that we continue the hype in the weeks to come, because now we're not basing this off of TV ratings. Now it's all about online numbers, and it seems like that's the war that's starting to begin with Raw going on Netflix and then AEW going on Max. So it was a great cold open. Like I said, I love that it welcomed the new crowd. And you said that the tarps dropped at some point and Triple H was in the building or in the middle of the ring. That was a hype moment. I feel like it portrayed off as hype from you guys, like the crowd on TV. Well, at this point, we hadn't gotten any new like graphics on the screen or anything. It was just hashtag WWE on Netflix and the cold open happening with Triple H standing in the ring. But he ushers in this new Netflix era, and we start off the show. And I feel like we started off the show hot. And to be honest, I'm glad that we started it off this way, because if this was what he was bringing, I'm glad it wasn't the at the end. We started off the show with The Rock kicking it off. I know the crowd was popping. You were there. What was the crowd feeling like when that music hit?
No, when that music hit, it was the first of the night. I was fully prepared for John Cena to be the first one to come out of that door. But it wasn't. It was The Rock, and we had already they had confirmed he had confirmed the night before that he was going to be there. We didn't know in what capacity that was going to be. When he came out to open the show, the music hit, we got amped, the crowd went nuts. And you mentioned it earlier, the Into a Dome, each seat does have like LED lights that light up based on whatever they want whoever is running the arena, whatever they want it to be. So when certain entrances came out, if Jimmy Uso's background is red, those lights turn red. For Jay, they were blue, the lights turn blue. So you could see that in the stadium, which was pretty sick. But anyways, back to the point. Rock comes out, lightning strikes, sick as fuck. Everyone is amped. I'm like, oh shit, we know Solo Sikoa Roman Reigns is the first match of the night. Why the fuck the Rock coming out here? Is he gonna stand ringside? Is he gonna interfere in this match? What the fuck is he doing here already? I mean, I was just amped because I thought, I'm thinking Tribal Chief about to come out, set it up. Let's get going. This is supposed to be the road to WrestleMania. This was advertised as the first stop in the road to WrestleMania. So seeing The Rock come out right before the Samoans, I was excited. I was excited at what was going to happen. But as you mentioned, I am glad he decided to make his appearance at the beginning just because of what he decided to do while he was on the show. But I will let you take it forward.
Yeah, so The Rock shows up, and you think, like you said, it's at right before the big bloodline match. You think, is he going to be ringside? Is he going to announce that maybe he's special ref? Something. But all he does is he comes out, and it's corporate Rock, and he's pandering to the Netflix executives up in the box, and he's saying all the hype words for the shareholders so that they're happy, and he's mixing it in with a little bit of pandering for the crowd so that the crowd is popping. But at the end of the day, from this segment, I didn't really get much besides confusion to if he's going to continue his storyline or not. Because not only did he embrace Roman Reigns at some point in the show, but he also went and he shook Cody Rhodes' hand. He congratulated him over the great work he's been doing. So to me, I was just a little confused. I was like, bro, we were just in a storyline where you were feuding with these guys. You literally wanted to kill Cody Rhodes, and now you're buddy friends. Like, I don't understand what's going on. um Past that, on Netflix, it didn't really go into much more detail. So I want to know, what were you thinking while all this was going on in the arena, because you didn't have that extra commentary that Michael Cole and the announce table were giving while this was happening.
Yeah, definitely just disappointed in what he decided to bring out and how he decided to present himself on Netflix. Just because, as you mentioned, the last time we saw him as the final boss. Um, he had taken something that Cody had given him and gifted it back to Cody on live television. He said, "I'm coming for that belt." That's the last time we saw him with a mic in his hands. And then after the Cody and Roman team up, we saw him come out to that at the end of that match. Think he counted to 3, pointed at everyone in the ring, did like a little "fuck you" under the throat, whatever that was. So that's how I left off remembering where The Rock was in whatever storyline he was in with Cody and Roman Reigns. We thought we were gonna get a Rock interference maybe, just because it would have made sense. Roman teamed up with Cody, and at WrestleMania 40, Rock helped Roman try to defeat Cody and Seth, in which they were successful at. And so, as you mentioned, I was just confused because what are we doing here? Like, I get it. It's the first episode of Netflix. We probably sent them out just to play that corporate role. Thank Netflix, thank the show shareholders, thank the fans, introduce everybody. I think when people think of the WWE, a lot of people think of The Rock. That's the first person that comes in their mind. It's either The Rock, John Cena, Stone Cold, maybe if you're a part of that era, and Hulk Hogan. I would say those are like Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think more people probably associate The Rock with wrestling, and because his superstardom is so grand, because he probably has one of the most followings on Instagram. Like, his numbers are insane. So they sent him out because that is who you associate wrestling with. I think he played that corporate role, and it sucked because he ended up actually, before even the Roman match started, he went over to Cody, who was in the crowd with other superstars in the arena, and he dapped them up. And I think they took a shot together. I don't know if that was on TV, or I don't know if that's because I probably had taken a shot. I do recall something being traded between them two. They had a little handshake on television, and I was just disappointed because the last time they interacted, The Rock was whipping his ass. He threw in a little joke. doing a little joke. He said, "Cody, don't forget to tell Mama Rhodes about me," or something along those lines. But that's the only little quip we got back to the story that they were telling. So in terms of the introduction, I'm glad that he made it because I was expecting him to play a role in the Bloodline feud that was shortly thereafter he concluded his promo.
Yeah, so did I. I think all of us kind of had it in our minds that he was going to be a part of the match in some way, or he was going to pop at the end to, challenge whoever won. But this was pretty much it for The Rock. And like I said, I think I'm just glad that this was it. If this was what he was bringing, I'm glad that this was it. He did appear later in the week on NXT, and I'll get to talk about that a little bit later. But again, not much happened down in NXT. So I think this was just him doing the rounds for the corpse, for the execs, and just making them look happy, having him on TV and stuff like that. But first up, we get our opening match. We already knew what it was gonna be. It was Roman versus Solo. What was the energy like right before this match?
Yeah, with the Solo walkout, it was the funniest shit in the world because I think this was the first time that you guys, or at least at least the people watching on TV, didn't get chants blurred out because the "fuck you" Solo chants started immediately, and they were loud, and it was awesome. So that's the first entrance we got was Solos, if I'm not mistaken.
We did.
Um, and then out came Roman Reigns. Everyone, of course, put their ones up for our tribal chief. And I thought the sickest part, which I did appreciate, uh was Paul Heyman giving his introduction of Roman Reigns, the reigning, defending, undisputed, soon to be undisputed WWE tribal chief of the world, Roman Reigns. The crowd loved that. And then we get the Solo Roman in the middle of the ring, and I think everyone was just amped. It was a great way to start the show. Roman is a draw. Solo has become a draw, and if it's not because of him, it is because Jacob Fatu has made him into a draw. And so we were excited. I think the fans were amped. Everyone had their ones up when the match started, and we were off and running.
Yeah, this was a slobber knocker match, but that's exactly what I expected. I mean, this was for the Ula Fale, who is going to be the OTC. And at the end of the day, we got our OTC back, and I'm glad. But this match was good. I would say that this was probably the best match of the night. It did have some interference in the middle between the Bloodline and a couple of the associates that are part of that storyline. I'm we even got, heel KO interfering during the match, if I'm correct.
Yeah, definitely. It was an interesting match to say the least. It was definitely fun one. And I agree with you. I thought it was one of the better matches of the night, which is funny to say because when we talk about bloodline matches, we usually don't talk about it because of the wrestling. It's because of the story that's being told. But Roman and Solo had a great match. It was a main event worthy match. Like you mentioned, they had a lot of interference here. The match really was a slobber knocker. They were going back and forth. We had some table spots. We even had the steel steps being thrown at Roman. I think Roman had dodged them at a point though, or blocked them with his hand. So it was a fun one. I mean, it was bloodline rules, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't harp too much on that, at least not when in the arena. I'm not sure if they continue to bring it up during uh commentary on live television, but I did forget it was bloodline rules until they started bringing out weapons, the chairs, the steel steps, and I remembered, oh shit, it is bloodline rules. So it was a fun match, and then of course with Bloodline rules comes Bloodline members. We got Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga interfering first, trying to help their tribal chief Solo Sikoa at the time. But of course, Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso did pop, and when that Sammy pop came out, man, that was dope. In the Sammy is a fucking great face. I think he's one of the better good guys, or at least one of those good guys that still gets that pop from everyone whenever he makes his appearance. He comes out, Jimmy Uso comes out. They help fight off um, Ika Fatu and Tama Tonga. But surprisingly, this was the biggest surprise to me. Kevin Owens actually interfered because Roman, I think, was about to hit a spear on Solo following Sammy and Jimmy cleaning up the mess. He was about to hit a spear. Kevin hits a spear of his own. He He gets in the middle of the ring, starts beating up Roman, and then Cody's music hits. He runs out. We get the Cody and Kevin Owens a little segment as well in between this Roman and Solo Sikoa match. They make their way out of the ring. The attention turns back to Roman and Solo. Somehow, some way, Roman hits his spear. He gets the 3 count and wins the match. Gets the Ulafala placed on him. He is, of course, our one, our only, our undisputed tribal chief. A very fun match to say the least. I really did enjoy it in person. Um, but the interferences were crazy. I like this is the problem that I had with the show. I don't think Kevin and Cody needed to be a part of that. That's a bloodline thing. I understand that we get I understand why they did it. The excuses. Kevin Owens is still upset that Cody teamed up with Roman months ago. I get it. That is the genesis of what has pissed off Kevin Owens. Something like this is for the Ulafala. Let's just keep it. We already knew we were gonna get the Samoans. We didn't need Kevin and Cody to interfere in this. We could have done that backstage. We could have done that separately. But of course, they're trying to get all the new fans in. They're trying to get them amped up. Oh shit, that's Cody. Oh shit, that's Kevin Owens. What the fuck is going on? Like I get it. But I just think there was a little too much fat on that plate for me, at least during that match. Because we got the full entrances, like not the full entrances, but the music played. We got Sammy's music to play, Jimmy's music to play, Cody's music to play all throughout this match. Like I just think it was a little bit much. But do you agree or disagree with that sense?
I gotta agree. I feel like I'm on the same page as you. I know why they did it. You know, it's the first episode of Raw on Netflix. They want those big pops and those surprises. They want to please the crowd, and not only the crowd but the executives. So they decided, this is the perfect time to do it because it's Bloodline rules. Which, like you said, I even forgot. I think they only brought it up once. The Bloodline boys interfered. I think that was maybe like the one time that they mentioned Bloodline rules. But other than that, I was still under the assumption that it was a regular match. I had no idea that it was or I had forgotten that it was Bloodline Rules. But it was a great match. It was a slobber knocker of a match. These boys went out and hit it hard. Like you said, I think it was a little fatted with Cody and KO coming in. I understand the KO's pissed, but this wasn't the time to intervene. Also, Cody was just seen shaking the Rock's hand ringside, and he still had to come out from the back. He couldn't just jump the
Yeah.
barricade. I have no idea
Yeah.
why the fuck he had to go all the way back there. But
So
you
that's a
know,
great fucking point.
they know what they're
That's a
doing.
great fucking
Apparently,
point.
they probably just wanted to pop the music on Raw once, whatever. But other than that, I would say like I said before, I would say that this is the best match of the night. I had a lot of fun watching this. It was a great way to start off the show. It kind of prepped us for what the show was going to be. It was going to be nothing but high action and surprises from the legacy that WWE is bringing onto to Raw. With that segment being done, though, comes the next segment that I'm pretty sure you are ecstatic to talk about. So I will give my opinions on the whole situation first. Next, after the match, we had John Cena finally come out to the arena. He was rocking Dodger Blue with some new T-shirt designs saying, the last time is now. I know that the socks that he was wearing, they even cut that up and they made it into tops cards that he signed the little pieces of cloth from the sock, which I think is really fucking cool. But he comes out and he's giving this speech, about how this is the last time you're gonna see him on some of the bigger pay-per-views and stuff like that, like Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. And then he comes to the topic of, will I win the record-breaking championship? And of course, that crowd immediately goes bananas. And everyone at home, everyone at the parlor that I was watching it at, um, we all popped, like, yes, of course, like, we want to see you break that streak. But he kind of set us back down and bring the realization that maybe that doesn't happen. And I think most of us wrestling fans kind of already saw that coming. I know you're on the other side where you're like, he has to win. But a lot of us have come to the
Has to.
realization that maybe he doesn't have to win. Maybe he leaves this
Fuck that.
open ended. Let me get through. Um, so he's giving the spiel, and you're just kind of giving up hope. You're like, fuck, is he really just gonna give up on this? And then he starts, dude. He starts the bullshit that I knew he was gonna come with. He starts teasing us and going, but what if I win the Rumble? And of course, that gets a huge reaction. Everywhere that got a huge reaction. And he keeps pushing this narrative that, you know what, I'm going to enter and I'm going to win the Rumble. As the biggest John Cena fan I know, what were your feelings, Arena, when he came out, when he announced that he wanted to do the Rumble? And we already know, but do you think he needs to win the record breaking championship?
Sure. Listen, I was here to see Cena. I wasn't here to see Roman. I wasn't here to see Cody. Was not here to see Seth. Not here to see Punk. I was here to see John Cena. It's the only reason why I was in this building. The only reason I got a ticket was because I knew I had to be there for John Cena's first appearance on his farewell tour. The only reason. I wore my spinner belt as John Cena. I was amped. I had my yellow wristband that I got from the gear he was wearing at SummerSlam 2022 2021 when Roman Reigns whipped his ass and he got F5 by Brock Lesnar. I was wearing the wristband because I remember the last time I saw John Cena was on that day. And I got the blue wristband now because the next time I see John Cena, I'm going to wear the new one. I was amped. The crowd was amped. And let me tell you, let me shout out these four guys before I even we walked into the stadium. There was this group of friends who each had a different, they had Cena gear. Each of them were representing a different era. It was the sickest
Ooh.
shit I've seen. It was four of them. One of them had a purple Cena shirt. The other one had the orange one with the blue. One of them had the 2008 Royal Rumble return shirt. All wearing jean shorts. And the last one had the red shirt that he wore, I think, when he was feuding with The Rock. So they all had different eras. And it was sick. I took a video of them. I'm gonna send it to you. It was sick. We were amped. I was amped that they were amped that we were gonna see Cena. And man, when he came out, I was just excited. I'm glad I got to see him. I was just begging, praying to Jesus, just let me get 24 more hours of life. On Sunday, I said, let me get 24 more hours of life so I can make sure I just see Cena on Monday. And he gave me the opportunity and the blessing to do that. When my man John Cena walked out, that music played, the horns hit, the trumpets hit. It was emotional. People put their fingers up, the threes, started waving their hands in their face. You can't see me. He was amped. He did the towel drop, as he always does. I was just excited and grateful to be there to watch one of my childhood heroes, kick off his farewell tour. In terms of the speech itself, we knew we were gonna get some raw shit out of John Cena. I was a little worried, because he comes out underselling himself, saying, I haven't won a match on TV in 200, 2,000 some days or whatever. Last time I was on here, I got thumbed by whoa, pause. I got fucking Samoan spiked by Solo Sokoa, whatever. Got rock bottom. He even gave a little shout out to The Rock, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so he was just going on giving a spiel about how we shouldn't be expecting for him to win the 17th title. It was him setting, you know, low expectations. Don't believe that it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't have the sway around here to make it happen anymore. I'm not gonna be able to get as many main events, and I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit teasing us. As you said, he started off being negative a little bit about himself, but then slowly, as John Cena does, he starts to remember who he is. But you know what? I have a few chances to, maybe get an opportunity to win the belt. I could win the Elimination Chamber. I can enter the Royal Rumble and win the Royal Rumble and go on to main event WrestleMania for the championship. And that was his official announcement that the next time we're going to see him in this ring, at least in a wrestling capacity, will be at the end of January at the Royal Rumble. And I don't think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. I don't think he's going to win the Royal Rumble. And if he does, I will be disappointed. Because the one thing we love about John Cena and why everyone has learned to appreciate him is the underdog story. No matter what, we have all been an underdog at some point in our lives. And I think that's what, makes him so relatable. And it's what makes the kids really love him and appreciate him and what has continued to bring us back to watch and root for John Cena. He's the ultimate babyface. No matter what, He's always gonna overcome, and he isn't gonna stop fucking doing that and not get his 17 championship. He is going to win this shit. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I know damn sure it's going to happen. And I fantasy booked this, I believe, before. I said, look, man, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I think the sickest way that he could win it, and I don't care if anyone thinks this is a stupid idea, the craziest way he could win it, if he goes on and we wait for his final match in 2025, last date on his farewell tour. It's a match against whoever the fuck's the champion at the time, whether that's Gunther, whether that's Cody, whether that's Randy, whoever the fuck. But it's his last chance to win big one, to win number 17. And it's the last night of his farewell tour. Everyone is going to be walking in there like there's no way he wins this shit to give it up the next day because that is what he's going to have to do. But that's exactly what the fuck should happen. He should beat whoever is the champion on the last day of his farewell tour and then drop the belt the next day because that is how his career should be crowned. Don't do no dumbass shit like fucking Daniel Bryan because ain't nobody give a fuck about that shit a month later. Don't nobody remember that shit. No one cares. But if you do this shit, Cena, if the WWE does this shit, I promise you, everyone will be talking about it. That's how I feel about that. That's all I got to say about John Cena. I'm excited for 2025 because I know I'm going to see him at his last WrestleMania show and I'm going to be at the show that he wins that fucking 17th title. And I'm going to be wearing my little blue fucking headband and my blue wristbands that I got on his first episode of his farewell tour. And that's what I had to say about that.
Shit, if you're gonna wear the blue, I think we should follow your buddies from Monday Night Raw. And we should just do all eras of Cena with our friend group because I mean we gotta pay respects to the goat. On the topic of John Cena winning the Rumble, I don't think he wins the Rumble. I think I'm with you on that one. I think he kind of laid out the land of him. At least in my eyes, he named all the possibilities, all the special matches where he can win an opportunity for the belt. And I think he goes down the list, and every chance we think he's gonna get it, and he just fails and eventually he does win one of the big ones, or like you said, maybe it's his last match and he wins it. But I think there's a strong chance, just off of the way that he worded it, that we do get that record breaking championship. So it'll be exciting to see when they decide to do it. I'm with you. I think it'll be very disappointing if he does win the Rumble right off the bat, because that kind of just burns all other avenues that they could have taken the story. But we'll have to wait and see. We have 1 full year left with Cena, and I plan on enjoying every second that I can of it because once it's done, like he said, the last time is now, buddy. So with Cena finally telling us that he's gonna enter in the Rumble, we go on to our next match, which was for the women's world title. We got Rhea versus Liv. This match, in my eyes, was probably the second match of the night. It was a great match between both of these ladies. I
Really?
feel like Liv has grown has grown leaps and bounds from where she started, and I think that Rhea is coming back off of her injury, and she's looking better than ever. And at the end of the night, we even with the interference from um Dom and Raquel, um Rhea still came out on top, and we had a special appearance at the end of that match, but we'll get to that in a sec. I want to know your thoughts on this match. I already heard that
Yeah.
you disagree that this match
No,
was
no,
the
no. It
second best
was,
of the night. But give
yeah.
me your thoughts. Let me know. Was the crowd hyped for Liv? Was the crowd booing Dom? Of course they cheered Rhea. So let us know, how was
Yeah.
this a match in person?
Yeah, nah, man, you're 100% right. The crowd was on Rhea's side 100%. I was one of the few rooting for Liv in my section. They were telling me to shut the fuck up, but I did not because Liv should have won that match. She should have came out on top of this feud. But I did think they put on a great match. I did enjoy it. It was fun to watch in person. We had the Raquel and Dom interference. We knew we were gonna get that. I could have sworn they were banned from ringside, but whatever. I may be wrong.
That's what I heard
We
too.
got yeah, I swear I thought that's what that was going to be the case, but it wasn't. When I saw Liv walk out um with Dom and Raquel, I thought they were gonna leave her up at the stands. Like they were just gonna let her walk in, but that wasn't the case. So they joined her. The fans booed Dom. They hated Dom. I must say, let me just backtrack a little bit because there's one thing I was disappointed in the Cena segment because we just didn't get an interruption. We didn't get his AA, his fucking finisher, which I was
Mm-hmm.
hoping for. I would have loved like Dom to walk out. That would have been perfect, especially
Mm-hmm.
for Los Angeles with the Latino crowd. It would have been sick. We would have got him to come out. John would have been like, "Fuck you, f you, him." It would have been sick, but we didn't get that. That's the only thing I was a little bit disappointed with Cena, where we didn't have him interact with another superstar. But I get it. It was his first episode back, making his Royal Rumble entrance, or at least announcing that he's going to be a part of the Royal Rumble. And so you just have him do that. I get it, but I think it would have been nice to throw him someone like Dom or whoever, or even a Logan Paul, whatever, just something to add a little bit more to that. If John like is a clothesline, give me something. But besides that, back to Rhea and Liv. Um, Rhea's entrance, thick. The crowd loved her. They were ready to die for Rhea. And so overall, the match was fun. I don't think there was anything too crazy that happened within the match itself. Um, Besides that, there was a table spot where I think Rhea had power bombed or threw Liv on top of the table, and it looked a little nasty watching it in person. But Rhea ended up winning this match. I'm glad this feud is over. I'm just glad this feud is over. I hope that we can move on. I hope Liv can move on to greener pastures. I hope Rhea could do something incredible with the title reign that they have decided to give her again. I'm just curious to see who going to be first opponent for both of the superstars. Who is Rhea gonna feud with? Because I like, bro, we've had 100 rematches. I don't want to see this shit anymore. Who is Liv gonna feud with? And I don't need Rhea to fucking feud with Raquel. Let's just move on. Let's just completely move on. Let's move forward. So that is what I'm most interested in seeing. Um, but I will say, I'm a little disappointed that Liv lost because I thought Liv has done a great job over the course of 2024. You know, she lost the belt, she came back, lost the Royal Rumble, but she fought. She fought her way up. She ended up beating Rhea. She injured Rhea, but she got her revenge back. She went on her revenge tour. She won the Crown Jewel Championship, the inaugural Crown Jewel Championship. She found her chicken tender fanatic in Dom, and she's had a hell of a year. I mean, she's looked great while doing it. So I was a little disappointed that she didn't win, because Rhea is gonna be Rhea. She's gonna get the pop. She's a superstar. She has the it factor, and Liv does too. But I think the championship does a little bit more. Um, it benefits Liv a little bit more than it does Rhea, just because of where they're at in the eyes of the fans. And I just thought Liv could have used this win of the feud more than Rhea. But all in all, congratulations to Rhea. I enjoyed the match. I think the crowd, the fans were really happy. Um, we started off the show with Roman winning. We started off the show also with Rhea winning. Two baby faces coming out on top there. So a big night for the good guys and the fans there. And then you mentioned it. Mentioned it. I will bring it up. Of course, once Rhea wins the match, he actually had a moment with Dominic Mysterio in the middle of the ring. As Dom goes in, he acts like he's gonna hug her, like, "Oh, I've been plotting this for you, mommy. You know, I was just kidding. I was just kidding." And then Rhea acts like she's gonna actually give him a hug back, kicks him in the nuts. The crowd loved it. That got a pop. She heads out, or at least right when she's going to head out, the Undertaker's American Badass music hits. And I was not expecting that at all. That was a big surprise. But his music hits. You hear the motorcycle,
Well, let's
and
let's
he
uh,
starts
let's
to
backtrack.
drive.
Let's backtrack just a second because the music didn't hit. The gong hit. So I want to know,
You're
when you
right. You're
heard the
right. You're
gong
right. The
hit,
gong
did
did
you
hit.
think you were getting Undertaker, or did you kind of see him coming out as a different version of
I mean, when I hear the gong hit, I'm like hats. I think
himself?
hats and coat, but that's not who he is anymore. You know, the last time we saw him was at 40. He had the sweater on, the hoodie, and he was just his regular American badass self. So that is gone. The gong Undertaker, the Day of the Dead man, that's gone. But I heard it and it took me back to 2008. where I was like, "Oh shit, I'm about to see the Undertaker, the Dead Man." But it was the American Badass. The crowd went nuts, though. I will say the crowd went nuts. This might have been, besides Cena, this might have been the pop of the night. This might have been the pop of the night.
What? Not the
He
Hogan pop?
Oh, brother, I can't wait to talk about that Hogan pop. But this might have been the pop of the night. Comes out though, he drives his motorcycle around the ring, doesn't say anything. Rhea sort of meets him at the top of the ramp once he does his lap with the motorcycle. He raises his hand. Rhea looks at him, and she raises the championship, and off they go. No words were said. It was just, I guess, some acknowledgement. No pun intended. I get having the Undertaker. Again, this is one of those things that they're doing for the new fans, or the old fans who decided to rewatch this show because it's on Netflix. They're throwing in superstars. They're giving us these grand surprises. Um, but it didn't make any sense. Like there is no story between Rhea and Undertaker. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what is it? Because they wear black? Like because they got some gray chains on? Like what? Because they both got eyeliner on? Like what's the story there? And so I get it, but even with like the Undertaker when he came out at Raw at the 30th anniversary of Raw, when he had his interaction with Bray, that made sense because they're similar characters in that sense where they have like the paranormal aspect of it or whatever. But this shit, it just didn't make sense to me. Ooh, Rhea got her little Undertaker moment. I think that's all that it was for. It was, I guess, acknowledgement of passing of the torch. But what were your thoughts on the Undertaker showing up and watching that happen on live television?
So let's backtrack a little bit. I think that at the end of the night, I was gonna be happy whether Rhea won or Liv won. One, because Rhea is that superstar that they love to, keep on top. And she's a phenomenal superstar. So I don't mind watching her wrestle. I don't mind having her on the belt. But if she's going to have the belt, put her in some meaningful feuds. Put her up against people that are actually going to give her a run for her money. Um, it was either going to be that or it was going to be they were going to put the company on Liv's back and see where she takes it. At the end of the day, they decided to go with Rhea, which is fine. But if they would have gone with Liv, I wouldn't have been mad either. Like you said, just a few of her accolades during the year: crown jewel champion, women's champion. Like this girl has been killing it. Um, in the night though, they both had a phenomenal match, even with the interference, which was kind of dumb. I don't know why they were there. Like you said, we were both under the impression that it was both of or the Judgment Day was barred from ringside, but apparently they decided to get involved. Rhea comes out on top. She's our new champion. This is the champion we're taking into the Netflix era. And then, like you said, the dead man pops. He comes out as the American Badass. Me watching at home, we saw the gong first. We thought Undertaker was coming out, the dead man. But like you said, that version of himself is now gone. And I really do appreciate, now that you put it in perspective, I appreciate that he is sticking to that. A lot of other superstars, you flash a little bit of money, they bring back their old gimmicks, to please the crowd. But Undertaker decided, hey, that part of me is gone. This part of me, people still fucking adore. I'm going to use this one. And like you said, it doesn't really make sense to bring him out for Rhea, but I think this was kind of in a way Undertaker's mode of giving her the nod, like this is the future. This is who you're gonna see on Monday Night Raw. So I kind of saw a little bit more like that. I could be reaching with that, but I thought this was kind of his symbolic passing of the torch to a female superstar, which I would say none of us really expected Undertaker to pass that torch to a female superstar, but he did, and I think Rhea is a perfect candidate for that. Cena, we had talked about this before. Cena is now ending his career this year, so I feel like he will give that nod as well sometime during the year. So I'm excited to see who he gives it to. I would imagine that now would be a male superstar. It could also be a female superstar. Who knows? But these legends give those kind of nods, and I just felt like that was Undertaker's way of giving Rhea the nod. But at the end of the night, the crowd popped where I was for that. The crowd popped where you were, of course, because it's the Undertaker. You love to see this man on TV. But yeah, once that match concluded, we went into our semi main event, which was Jay versus Drew. Um,
Yes.
I personally, I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of forgot that this match was going on. But this match
That's
was
just
good.
bullshit.
I thought this match was okay. Why they decided to have Drew lose on his first match with
Insane.
the Bloodline interaction that he's having been having lately, it baffled me. This is the first match I had an issue with. So I want to get your thoughts on the match. I want to know: did you think that this was a good match? Did the arena think that this was a good match? Where do we go from here? It kind of seems like Drew's momentum has now stopped. I thought we were gonna get this stoppage maybe from Roman once he got to the top and Roman would shut it down, but we let Jay shut it down. So where does Drew go from here?
Yeah, no, I'm disappointed with the outcome of this match for sure. I want to start off though by talking a little bit about the entrance to this motherfucker because this is when I knew this shit was different. This is when I knew we were in a new streaming era because the way
How did
this
I
entrance
forget?
started, the way this shit started, of course, we get the Drew McIntyre entrance first, if I'm not wrong. He walks out, sick entrance. Also, just him and Roman, probably the two motherfuckers that look the most like some wrestlers. And Drew has been on fire over the course of the last year. He's had phenomenal matches, a fantastic feud with CM Punk. He's whipped Sami Zayn's ass. He's now going on to supposedly whip the rest of the Bloodline's ass, and that's what I thought was going to happen. But clearly, that wasn't the case. Um, he makes his entrance, looks great. We're waiting for Jay, but before Jay makes his entrance, there's a commercial break. I'm assuming. Then we come back from commercial break. Theme by Travis Scott starts to play. Crowd goes nuts because we're in Los Angeles. The kids love them some Travis. But Travis had a little some on him that surprised me, and I couldn't really see it from my perspective in the arena. Um, but then I got online. I started to see the chatter. Travis is walking in with some weed. He's smoking a blunt on his way down on camera. Jay is joining him. So now we got Travis Scott smoking some weed, walking down next to Jay Uso while Jay Uso is yeeting in Los Angeles. The crowd is going nuts. He gets to the announce table. He continues to yeet while Travis continues to smoke. And it was just hilarious to see in real time. The reports after were so funny because they said WWE did not know Travis was going to smoke. Um, they didn't know that was going to be the case. I don't know if they cared, because weed is now recreational. It's not that big of a deal anymore. It's not as taboo as it used to be. I don't know if they cared, but I'm sure that's not the product that you want to put out to children. Anyways, um, I was genuinely surprised. I guess they're not going to tell. No one's going to tell Travis Scott anything. I'm sure Steve Ballmer may have a word or two, with his security team watching that happen live. But no one was going to say anything to Travis Scott. Jey Uso hilariously after the show was over in the post press conference, he said, I wanted to take a hit, but I had to go wrestle or whatever, something along those lines. So all in all, I thought that was funny. Had to shout out Travis Scott for being there. He was also wearing the hardcore championship belt that Triple H had gifted him at this year's Complex Con, which I was also at, so that was pretty cool. So that was a dope little entrance, little Easter egg, and the match started. Dude, I can't even fucking recall this match because I don't think this shit lasted more than 3 fucking minutes. No, there was a super kick in here and there. I know there was a suicide dive. Um, Drew hit a claymore kick. He hit his future shock DDT. It was a basic match in my opinion. It was maybe like a 7-minute match. And this was a match where I really wanted Drew McIntyre to win. I wanted him to whip his ass. He beat Sammy already. He's made it clear that he is going to he's going to right every wrong for everyone who's ever turned on him, everyone who's ever costed him an opportunity, and the bloodline is at the forefront of that. So he got his match with Jey Uso, and Jay didn't even really win this shit cleanly. He didn't win it with a spear. He didn't win it with a finisher. He won it off of a roll up, and I think that was the wackest shit to do for Drew because, like, bro, Jay doesn't need this match. Like, I get it. He's main event Jey Uso. But let's be fucking serious. Drew McIntyre is the wrestler in this equation. Jey Uso is a superstar. Drew McIntyre is a wrestler and a superstar. But he has the better stories to tell. He has put on these feuds that matter, that are gonna leave some memories in our minds, and have him lose here on the first episode of Netflix, like you mentioned, I just thought was whack. I also think this is gonna lead to him confirming that he's gonna be moving over to SmackDown. But all in all, I'm just disappointed in the decision that they made here. I love Jay. Don't get me wrong. I fucks with Jay. I was yeeting, I was waving my hands, but like I would have loved to see Drew win here, get some heat as we head into the Royal Rumble because we know Jay's not going to win the Rumble. Like we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But Drew McIntyre is viable. He could win the Rumble. He's believable. Having him lose here, it just drops his stock a little bit for me. But that's how I felt about it. How did you feel about the outcome and the decision that they made and the roll up pin? Any thoughts on that? Would you had ended it the match any differently, even if you had to book Jey Uso winning? Do you think that was the right call having him roll up Drew, or would you had him done it any other way?
No, a roll up, and I don't mean to sound rude, but a roll up finish kind of seems like a SmackDown thing you want to do, like on a match that you really don't care about, Not a match on fucking Raw on Netflix that is carrying some weight for Drew and his storyline. Like I said, it just kind of dead stops his momentum now. What viable case is he going to present to us for him continuing his parade of destruction against the bloodline? There's nothing there, bro. You already lost against Jay. Jay in the bloodline, I would say, is the second top star. You already lost to the second top star. Do you really think you could beat the top dog? I don't know where you go from here. Like you said, I think this kind of just solidifies the fact that he's going to SmackDown, which is perfectly fine. I feel like SmackDown's a better fit for him, anyways. There's a lot more people down there that he's going to be able to wrestle with. Plus, we're getting Penta on Raw, and that fills up a spot already. So I don't think it's necessary to keep Drew around on Raw. I think it's perfect if he goes to SmackDown. But yeah, the match was kind of mid. And because the match was kind of mid, and you reminded me of the intro, I want to go back and I want to talk about the intro a little bit. Uh, we did see Travis Scott with the fucking blunt on TV, which was fucking wild. And I don't think anyone where I was watching it was not pointing it out. Before I carry on, I do want to ask you, um, from where you were seated, how far away was Jay and Travis's walkout?
So we were in the same like level where he was walking down, right? Like we were on the same
Mm-hmm.
level of the sections he was walking down. I was maybe like four or five sections left.
Okay.
He walked down the right side or the left side of the commentary table if you're watching it on television.
Mm-hmm.
He walked down the left side of the commentary table where I was probably behind of the right side of the commentary table if you're watching it on. So maybe about three or four sections away, but level to where he was.
To where he was coming out. Yeah, I mean, personally, anytime they pan to the crowd, I was like, "Can I see Rob?" Shocking, no, because it was dark as shit. But
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't. It was a wild moment. Like I said, I don't think anyone where I was watching didn't go, "Holy shit, he's smoking on TV." So that was kind of a crazy thing to have happen. You
it's
said
Netflix. It is Netflix.
Netflix had no idea, but I don't think they had too much of a problem. Like you said, it's pretty much recreational everywhere. It's definitely recreational in California, so they didn't have that. I would say they didn't have that much of a issue, but they did come down, and at this point, you couldn't see it. You didn't know about it because you were there live. But of course, Pat's back. They have this fantastic new announce table. It looks reinforced like a motherfucker. And by what happened next, I can guarantee that that thing is reinforced because, like Pat loves to do, he got up to yeet for Jey Uso, and he's yeeting his ass off. And he goes, "Michael Cole, what are you still doing sitting down?" And at that point, I swear to God, the wrestling demon took over Michael Cole and he said, "You know what? You're right. I have no idea." And he gets up on the table. He starts eating. The boys come down. Jay dabs up Michael Cole. It looks awkward. He dabs up Pat. It looks great. Then down comes Travis, belt on his shoulder. He dabs up Michael Cole. It looks even more awkward. Then he goes and he dabs up Pat McAfee. It's great to have Pat back. He brings that fucking energy that you love on commentary. So it was great to see him back. He even got Michael Cole up on the table. So you gotta love that. But overall, I would say sadly that was the highlight of the match was this entrance because so much shit happened. But overall, this match really just confused me more than anything. Um, with that being said, we go on to the spot of the night that has had the whole world talking for the last couple days.
Out of the night.
um, we get a break from the match, and when we return, we get real American bumping from the speakers at full volume. And who comes out other than Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart? And now I feel bad for Jimmy Hart because he just had to sit there and take this the whole time. But as soon as Hulk Hogan stepped out, the boos on my speakers rang louder than anything I've ever heard. This man is universally hated by so many people, and that arena made him feel it. At some point, I kind of started feeling bad. Not really, but I started feeling bad because you would see that he would try to get something out and they were just not allowing him to say shit. At some point, he kind of just gave up. He came, he did his ad for his beer, which I've read online is complete fucking dog shit. And he fucked off. And over the last couple days, it's been nothing but memes and people trying to explain why they Hulk Hogan. I want to get your, I guess, thoughts on the situation of what happened tonight. We don't have to get into the whole, Hulk Hogan storyline or whatever, but just your thoughts on what happened tonight. Was it well deserved? Was there at least some people cheering? Did you see anyone cheering? Because on our end, it
Fuck
was
no,
nothing but straight boos.
bro. It was fucking great. This is probably my second favorite thing. And John Cena was my favorite thing. Seeing Hulk Hogan get booed, I was surprised because I listen. I was, had a little drinks in, a little few drinks in me, having a good time with my buddy. We having a blast. So I'm over here, a little tipsy. Um, Hulk Hogan's music plays. My first fucking reaction isn't "fuck you, Hogan." It's "oh shit, it's Hulk Hogan." So I'm like, "Oh shit, it's Hulk Hogan," and and then it just rains and boos, bro. You couldn't even hear the music. You just hear the boom, 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 and then it just boo, fuck yous here, fuck you there. He comes out, and it was just insane because I thought what was gonna happen was they were gonna boo him, his entrance. The music was gonna stop. He was gonna pick up the mic and they were gonna let him talk. But they would boo him here and there. But from the moment he stepped out, Jimmy Hart was behind him holding the American flag. Music was playing. I didn't. I mean, listen. The last time he came out to a pop was at Trump's rally, and they loved him for it. Ripped his shirt. The crowd went nuts. This is the last time Hulk Hogan got a pop. He just came off that high. He thought shit was gonna be sweet. I also am a little confused. This must have been a prank. Triple H, Netflix, they must have known what the fuck they were doing. Because out of all places in the United States of America, with the political climate being where it's at, why would you bring him to Los Angeles, California? Why would you do that? Anyways, comes out, ooze out the wazoo, just straight to business. Just shut up, just fuck you, boo. They don't let him get a word out. He goes on, he's gonna get the promo off. Of course, we're gonna get the "Let me tell you something, brother." He goes on, he's shouting out the new partnership with Netflix. I think he compared WWE and Netflix to being a tag team. Then he went on to talk about how he's tagged with the Randy Savages of the world, and I think Andre the Giants of the world. But even at the mention of their names, he got booed. He mentioned them. This dude was getting Andre the Giant booed. I don't think I've ever heard Andre the Giant get booed. Randy Savage got booed. Fucking Jimmy Hart got booed. Netflix got booed. Real American Beer got booed. It was insane. It was the funniest shit in the world. And the funniest part about it is I've gone back to watch the videos on Twitter, online on Instagram, and it does not do it justice. The way he got booed in that building, bro, it was the craziest thing. I don't even think I heard that shit like when a Dom came out. Like it was just it wasn't like a playful boo. It was a "fuck you, I don't care what you have to say. Get out of my fucking arena." And I think he felt that. And I think being Hulk Hogan, walking away from that must suck. But fuck him, and it is what it is. That shit was hilarious though. I'm glad I was a part of that. That was fun. And something I'll never forget was the night Los Angeles booed Hulk Hogan. That is what, if there's one thing people will remember about the debut episode of Netflix, is that was the funniest way to start the year.
Yeah, I have no idea what Netflix and WWE were thinking because this was, I mean, you could have felt this off of just attention on social media. People were getting ready to boo this man. They knew he was coming. They were getting ready to
Mhm.
boo his man, and they just let him have it. And I did go back and rewatch the segment on Netflix um, post it happening, and to my surprise, unedited. And I say that because recently there was a show over on AEW where Ricochet got booed, and when you go back to watch it, is now edited. So I am kind of surprised that Netflix didn't go back and edit it. It kind of shows us that they're kind of on the same page. Maybe they really don't give a fuck, and they just want it to be seen the way that it happened that night, you know. And in a sense, like I said, I feel bad for Hulk Hogan. He was a legend. He kind of was a part of the foundation for WWE. But if you're going to be a piece of shit outside of WWE, the fans catch that. They're not going to let you get away with that shit. So I am glad they let him have it. I'm glad that he wasn't able to get a fucking word in, especially because all he did was go promote his stupid ass beer. But at the end of the day, I mean, if I was WWE, I wouldn't be bringing him back around. This would be the last time I bring him around. Even fucking mention him, to be honest. After that reaction, I would want no association between WWE and Hulk Hogan. But that's just me. With that being said, because I don't want to harp too much, I don't want to give him too much spotlight. We go on to our main event: CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Now, originally, this was planned to be the opener. I wish it probably would have stayed that way. Um,
Really?
I'm
Really? That's how
gonna
we
be
feel?
I am gonna be completely honest with you, brother. The same way that you felt about the Jay and Drew match is how I feel about this match. I watched this match and I can honestly not tell you a giant moment that happened. I feel like at the end of the night, I saw CM Punk win, and that was pretty much it. And why he won, I have no idea. I thought we were gonna give this to Seth. I thought CM Punk was gonna come back and he wasn't gonna be this like juggernaut that just beats talent, but it seems like that's where we're going. It seems like they want to do something with him. And at the end of the night, he beat Seth. And I'm a little confused by that. Maybe you could shine some light on something that I didn't see, but this match to me was kind of mid.
I disagree. I am not content with the outcome as well, but I thought this was a solid match. I thought you mentioned a funny point. They do have CM Punk juiced the fuck up because he sold or no sold a lot of these moves. Like the Falcon Arrow the way the match ended was Seth hit the Falcon Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
He hit the Falcon Arrow and Punk rolled over and turned it. Matter of fact, let me fucking backtrack. He hit the Falcon Arrow from the top of the rope. The top of the rope, from the top of the turnbuckle. It's it. CM Punk and him roll up to the point where CM Punk is carrying Seth on his shoulders, setting him up for a GTS. So he gets hit with a Falcon Arrow, no sells it, turns it into a GTS, turns it into a second GTS, and wins the match. And I was upset about that. I thought the match itself, though, was a fun one. Um, they were going back and forth for about, I think they gave him like 15 minutes. Punk's a little bit on the older side. You're not going to see him get those 25, 30-minute matches as he would back in the day. But we got all the moves. We got the famous corner knee kick from Punk. We got the curb stomp, if I'm not mistaken, from Seth Rollins. A pedigree was thrown in the mix. Just an overall solid match. I enjoyed. I'm not happy with the outcome. I agree with you there. I did want Rollins to win, but I must say I'm being biased in that. Only reason I want Rollins to win is because I fuck with Rollins and I'm a Rollins fan. I think it makes sense to have Punk win. Reason why I say this is the same reason why I'm mad that Drew McIntyre lost his fucking match with Jay. Is because the attention is being turned to the Royal Rumble, right? And with that, we have to make it believable for other superstars besides the main ones uh have an opportunity to actually win this match. When you have people like Drew McIntyre, like this year's Royal Rumble is crazy. We already got John Cena now. I was watching the beginning of today's SmackDown episode because we're recording this on Friday night. Roman Reigns made his announcement. He's joining the Royal Rumble. CM
Mm.
Punk, CM Punk at the end of this match, he cut a great promo. He said, "I'm the best in the world. I'm coming for a championship. I'm the clutchest player in this fucking roster. Gunther, I'm coming for you. Cody, I'm coming for you. What CM Punk said while he walked out of this ring after he beat Seth Rollins' ass, unwrapping his wrists. What a fantastic promo. I think that means he's joining the Rumble. We got Logan Paul gonna enter the Rumble. As much shit as I talk about him, we have Damian Priest entering the Rumble. These are all superstars who are believable enough that they have an opportunity to cash in this chance and win the Rumble. And that is why I think it makes sense for CM Punk to win here. Because who were the last two men in last year's Royal Rumble match? Remember?
Who were the last men in last year's Royal Rumble match?
Yep, yep. Do you remember?
CM Punk
Yep.
and
And Cody.
Cody, right? Yeah.
Yep. Cody threw him over the top rope
Mm-hmm.
after he found out that CM
That he was
Punk's
hurt.
shoulder was
Yeah.
fucked up. Yep. Who knows? Maybe Punk was supposed to win that match. Who knows? But with him being the second to last in last year's Rumble, I think no, I wouldn't be surprised if CM Punk wins this year's. I think it would be an interesting turn, because you don't know who he's gonna select. Same, gonna put him in the same position as Cody did Cody last year. He wins the Rumble. Who is he gonna pick? There's a match. If CM Punk wins, and Cody's still the champ after his ladder match with Kevin Owens at the Rumble, that's a match. CM Punk versus
Mm-hmm.
Cody could happen. Or if Gunther's still the champion after the Rumble as well, you can have Gunther and CM Punk. That's another phenomenal match. So, as a Seth Rollins fan, I'm upset that he lost. As a WWE fan, it makes sense. I can appreciate it. And I don't think CM Punk is the worst. No, I think he's reinvented himself. He's gone on a tear. He's having a LeBron James 40-year-old LeBron James season. He's putting on some good matches. He's putting on banger feuds. On a feud with Drew McIntyre. And hey, this feud with Seth Rollins is not over. It is not over in the slightest. We're gonna get this feud. And it started with a solid match, in my opinion. I respect your opinion. But if this is the first match of the feud, let's also take that into consideration. Let's take that into consideration because this was a hyped up match. We've been waiting for this for 10 years, right? 10-year
Mm-hmm.
match in the making. Get it on the debut episode of Netflix. Um, and was it a little underwhelming? I'll give it to you. But it was a regular one-on-one match, just straight wrestling. There were no added incentives. It wasn't a ladder match. It wasn't a no DQ. It was the first match of this feud. Let's go back to the first match of the feud that CM Punk had with Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. We
Mm-hmm.
weren't feeling too hot about that either. Weren't. Look at how it progressed afterwards. It was a slow start, or at least a steady pace start. Then we worked our way into a phenomenal feud that, Hell in a Cell. And then the dog collar match. So I'm curious to see where this feud is going to progress. I know Seth is going to come back strong. I know he's going to come back angry. Going to curse on CM Punk somehow, some way. And we're going to keep this train in motion. That's how I felt. I'm sorry for going on a little
You're
rant
good.
there. I just had to defend this match because I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
I guess I'll backtrack a little bit and I'll say that where this was positioned, I think that's where my feelings lie. If this match was probably the first match that happened, I feel like I would have different eyes on it. I guess I think because of how heavy the night was, and this being the main event, I thought we were gonna get like a phenomenal match. But at the end of the day, like you said, this is the start of the feud between them. And not only that, but we got to take in fact that it's still a normal episode of Raw too. Well, just because it's on Netflix and it had that big night feel doesn't mean that they necessarily had to do anything huge. And I feel like the matches on this card were solid. I wouldn't say any of them were too horrible besides, the Jay and Drew, and that was just more of a why the fuck did you guys let this happen? But at the end of the night, I would say that if this card was maybe a little earlier, I would have loved it a lot more. But because it was such late in the night and it just didn't have that impact that I wish it did, I guess that's where it kind of let me down. But with that being
That's fair.
said, with that
I can
being
give you that. I can give you that point.
okay,
Go ahead.
with that being said, I want to get your overall thoughts of the night. Did you enjoy the first episode of Raw on Netflix? Do you think it was a little amplified by you being there in the arena yourself? Do you plan on going back and watching the episode on Netflix as a rewatch?
Yeah. Listen, out of the 5 stars, I'm still giving it the 3. I was a little underwhelmed in person. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was fantastic. The experience itself, like none other. I have been blessed. I've been blessed to have great friends. My one of my good friends, Alberto, since high school, he joined me. We went to go watch this episode. The last time I was at a WWE event was the Madison Square Live event following Christmas last year because another good friend of mine, Luca, shout out to Luca, got us tickets to that, and that was actually CM Punk's first match back in the WWE against Dom. So I got to see that, and that was the last time I was at a WWE event, and I always love going to them. They're fun. If you're a fan, you haven't had the chance to go, just go to any show, a live show, any tickets. It's fun. The fans, the interactions, everyone's just there to have a good time and enjoy themselves, watch some wrestling, and everyone's there for the same purpose. They just want to have fun. So it's always a blast to go. I am a little just underwhelmed with the debut episode just because I thought there was an opportunity for them just to I guess really introduce the road to WrestleMania, right? Because I think that's where I was left wanting more. Was like there was no story, there were really no story progression, I guess, if that makes sense. Like the Jey Uso Drew McIntyre shit don't make sense to me. Like Undertaker coming out to dap up Rhea, okay. Um, Rock fucking hugging everybody, hugging Cody, like what the fuck? Roman got his Ulafala back, cool. I guess yeah, I could fuck with that. He got the Ulafala back. He's turning his attention to the championship now. And then we get the Punk and Rollins. I thought those two, Punk and Rollins, and then Roman and Solo, probably the most of the story progression in terms of everything else. I was left wanting more. Um, I also I must say, I it wasn't advertised, it was not confirmed. But in my mind, I thought that we were gonna get the Penta debut here.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get that. But he didn't mention this in the show. I gotta shout out Chad Gable. Oh, two things, actually, now that I'm remembering. I am upset. I didn't fucking see Gunther live. I didn't see Gunther live.
Mm-hmm.
That disappointed me. He cut a sick promo, they gave him a video package, whatever. But not seeing him live disappointed me. I fucks with Gunther. I didn't appreciate the fact that they did not have their current WWE World Heavyweight Champion on the debut episode of Netflix because that is who is your champion. Roman is not your champion. Cody's not your champion. Gunther's your champion. Put some fucking respect on his name because he's the best wrestler in the world right now. I didn't appreciate that at all. I was actually very upset that I didn't get to see. I was disappointed. But the other thing was Penta didn't debut. It wasn't advertised. Cool, I get it. I was just of the belief that it was going to happen, especially because we had a few backstage segments earlier, a few weeks ago with like Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods telling Rey Mysterio that they were going to have a match against him. Rey said, "I have a partner in mind." I thought they may have done that, but then we get a segment backstage at this episode with Chad Gable and Adam Pearce, and they're having a little conversation in the back. Chad is talking shit about how he beat Otis last week and how he's going to go on and win a singles championship, right? Because I can go on and face anyone. You know what I'm in the mood for? I'm in the mood to face a luchador. And Pierce smiled. He said, "I have just the right guy in mind." I think that's a little nod that we're going to get the Penta debut this Monday um, on the second episode of Netflix. I also think the second episode of Netflix is going to maybe get us back on track for the road to WrestleMania now that we've gotten all, the excitement a little bit, taking off that weight. We're gonna get back to like the wrestling roots of Raw. I hope, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we get the Penta debut. So I was just disappointed in Gunther not showing up. Storylines not having as much progression as much as I would want it to. Road to WrestleMania not being painted the way I thought it would have been painted as we headed in to the show, especially with the cold open. Um, those are my thoughts. Am I gonna go back and watch it? Yes, I want to go back and watch it. I'll take 2 hours this weekend, sit back, enjoy it, and try to see if I can spot myself in the crowd or my friend Roberto. Um, just again, happy that I got to be there. We're gonna have to get you to a show soon as well.
Okay.
WrestleMania is in Las Vegas. We'll
Oof.
hopefully plan on being there. It's gonna be fun. But all in all, shout out to the Into a Dome. Shout out to Netflix. Shout out to Raw. Shout out to the GOAT John Cena for giving us the first promo of his farewell tour. I can't wait to see him wrestle, and hopefully he wins the Royal Rumble. I mean, we get a Mania main event. Those are my thoughts. I want to hear yours, your overall thoughts now that it's all said and done. Now that we've taken a week away or a few days away from Netflix, are you excited for the second episode of Raw on Netflix? And what are you looking forward to most into next week?
Uh, Overall, I would say I still stick to like a 3.5 to 4 rating on the show. I think the matches on it were okay. They were solid matches, but we were here for the hype. You know, it was the first episode on Netflix, and we were trying to build that buzz. And I think they did that. And like you said, I think it's time for us to get back onto the road to WrestleMania, because this is around the time when we start this. We're in full-fledged, road to WrestleMania. Typically around this point, we're seeing where people are going, where they're going to land on the card, if they're going to be entered into the Rumble and stuff like that. I think with the Rumble being around the corner and Netflix being a new place for Raw, and them trying to continue the hype over the next few weeks, we're going to get a lot of people returning, I would imagine. Maybe even some teases of people returning for the Rumble, just to set up a little bit of that hype for Netflix still, and set up for the Rumble. Um, we have a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, because this is when we get into full-fledged mode, right? Just right before WrestleMania. So a lot of these storylines need to be concisive. They need to, make sense, and I'm really looking forward to see if WWE can maintain that, and if they're going to push boundaries on what they can do now that they're on Netflix. We don't know exactly what they plan on doing with Netflix, but I'm hoping that we do big things. With that being said, that brings us to the end of the Raw portion of the show. We do have a little bit of extra for this week, but I do want to bring something to everybody's attention, if you don't mind me going off for a bit. Um, if you watch Raw on Netflix within the US, you still have ads. And that's a pain in the ass. Everybody hates watching ads. And we thought that shit, finally, when we come into a streaming service, we're going to get rid of the ads. That wasn't the case. Not only that, but we're kind of getting skamazed in the US by having to still pay for a Peacock subscription to watch PLEs and some of the other original content that WWE likes to produce. Well, my tip of the week has come. If you are someone that is lucky enough to own a VPN, if you change your VPN to another place that is not the US, you will not only get an ad free experience on Netflix, but you will get an entire catalog of WWE content straight at your disposal, including NXT live on the day that it airs. Now, I have experienced both Netflix or Raw on Netflix within the US, and I have now experienced it with a VPN. And let me tell you, brothers, the VPN is the way to go. So if you are looking to experience wrestling the way that it should be, get yourself a VPN. And this is my shot at the dark. If anyone is listening with a VPN hookup, if there's a VPN out there that wants to sponsor the pod, we would love to have you as a sponsor for the pod. We love wrestling, we love Netflix, but the thing is, we don't love ads. And with the VPN, you're providing that beautiful service that we all wanted. So if anyone knows anyone, if there's a VPN out there hearing, get in touch with us. We would love to work with you. With that being said, Rob, did you watch any of the other wrestling that happened this past
I was too emotionally involved thinking
weekend?
and watching John Cena and replaying that video.
Sounds good. So
Well,
let me start off the segment, and again, I'm just gonna go off with our segment to end the night. Spot Monkeys International. I love that you guys love Spot Monkeys. It allows me to talk to you guys about wrestling that is in WWE. So this past weekend, we had a lot of international wrestling, mainly on the Japanese side. So I want to recommend some of these matches for you to go and enjoy. And maybe we'll talk about it in the next episode if Robbie gets a chance to watch the matches. If you guys comment that you guys want to hear me break down these matches a little bit more. For now, I just want to recommend some of the matches that went on. We had Wrestle Kingdom through New Japan last weekend, and we also had Wrestle Dynasty, which was a collaboration between New Japan and AEW, which is kind of this weird situation because they just got into a max deal, so they're very limited on what they could have said and do with the storylines that they were trying to progress. Um, that conversation's for another day because it's going to be a mess trying to explain how people got belts in AEW that they're not allowed to talk about how they got them. So we will get to that another day. But let's get down to business. Wrestle Kingdom was up. I love Wrestle Kingdom. It's the New Japan WrestleMania of the year. It used to be 2 nights. It was only one night this year because they split it between Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. But first up, the first match that I want to recommend is Shingo versus Takeshita. If you know Takeshita, you watch AEW, he's been on a fucking hot streak. This boy is on fire, and I want to see him take the championship to the top. Him versus Shingo was a dynamite match. If you don't know who Shingo is, he's a legacy New Japan wrestler who is amazing in the ring. He always has these 10 out of 10 fits that he comes out to, and he did not disappoint during Wrestle Kingdom. Up next, we had Doki versus Desperado. I will give you a warning. This match does end in an injury. If you are squeamish about watching people break their bones, do not watch this match. If that does not bother you, this was a phenomenal match that had to be stopped because I'm pretty sure it was Doki. Doki blew out his elbow live on TV. It was the gnarliest fucking shit ever. If you have a chance and you aren't squeamish, definitely go watch that. Up next, we had my match of the night for New Japan. But again, I am going to preface this by saying I am biased. This had two of my favorite wrestlers from the New Japan circuit. We had Naito, the leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón, versus Takahashi. Hiromu Takahashi is now on his retirement tour. This was his last Wrestle Kingdom he will ever be a part of. It was a phenomenal match between two friends, allies, members of the same group. I will miss Hiromu wrestling in New Japan. He was amazing back in the day. He's still amazing now. He sadly suffered a couple injuries that I'm guessing is what led to him ending his career shortly. But we do have a John Cena style situation where he's giving us a full year of matches. I recommend watch all of them. He is fucking phenomenal. Um, Up next, we went over to Wrestle Dynasty. This was the promotion, the event promoted between New Japan and AEW. And first up, we got Tanahashi, Japanese John Cena, versus AEW Shibata in a 5 minute grapple rules match. If you love just straight up wrestling, if you love these superstars in New Japan, like a Tanahashi, like a Shibata, he's in AEW. If you've seen him around, he's phenomenal. These two had a 5 minute grapple match, which I wanted to see what the fuck was about, and it did not disappoint. Tanahashi, if you don't know, is now in charge of New Japan, so he's kind of like on the board. So seeing him wrestle is always a treat. Um, After that, we got again uh, Takeshita versus Ishii. Again, Takeshita has been on fucking fire, and this match was no short of explosive. I love Ishii. If you watch AEW, he's come in a couple times. He had this match infamous with Swerve where it was fucking terrible. But him as a wrestler, he's amazing. When he gets into his own in his form of Japanese wrestling, he just fucking kills it. But Takeshita right now, again, he's on top. He took this. My buddy personally, my buddy Chris, shouts out to Chris. He said that on both nights, Takeshita took match of the night. So I will take him on his word for that. Takesha's on fire. Pay attention to him. And to end the Japanese pay per views, we had the return of the GOAT, the return of the cleaner, Kenny Omega. And let me tell you, not only did this man look great in the ring, he looks ready to be back, but he went out of his way to get the composer of the Final Fantasy games to write and produce the score to a song and the graphics on the Megatron. That shit, that attention of detail, especially with the names of certain moves in his moveset, is fucking cinema. I love seeing Kenny Omega back. I plan on seeing him hopefully more in New Japan than in AEW, but I know he's still under contract with AEW. I hope Omega does great. I hope he doesn't get hurt. But that ends my Spot Monkeys International. Now let's take it to a more localized spot monkeys. If you don't know by now, if you're a hip hop fan, West Side Gun has a new wrestling promotion called Fourth Rope, and he has been putting up his little pay-per-views up on YouTube. And let me tell you, if you're a fan of classic, you know, 2019 shindy wrestling, this is the shit for you. I am telling you, people look at you weird for watching it, but this is where stars are made. A lot of stars like Finn Balor, like Damian Priest, all of them came from shindy promotions like this, and we're seeing some top level talent that is going to blossom from this promotion. One of them specifically, I mean, we already sing his praises all the time, but I will sing them again in the main event. The one match I implore you to go watch is Zilla versus Moose. Zilla is Jacob Fatu's younger brother, and Moose is the current big dog over in TNA. And they wrestled for the fourth rope belt, the initial belt for this promotion. And this match was fucking sick. Zilla is insane, dude. I cannot wait till we get him into the performance center and we teach this kid some shit because he's gonna be. If you thought Jacob was good, Zilla's gonna be a fucking beast, dude. Um, Also on this,
Let's slow down a little bit there.
oh,
Slow down with the Jacob talk. Go ahead, go ahead.
oh, okay, okay, okay. All right. Well, listen, bro. If you see this match and you get to the end when Zilla does his Superman fucking thumb jab, whatever it's called,
Find some
my God, bro. I have never seen Moose demolish so fucking hard. And Moose is a top dog. Moose is a big boy. Zilla fucking handled that shit. So I'm very excited. I'm invested in Zilla's career. I'll leave it at that. But definitely go watch this match. Another match on the card, which I don't know how I say I'll recommend it, but if you're a fan of older WWE, you might recognize his name. Enzo More was on this card. He was facing someone called Cha Cha Charlie. Um, Enzo's it's just a little rough, bro. It's a little rough. He's still trying to do the same shtick he used to do in the WWE, and no one kind of really cares. Some people are chanting it back. For the most part, he's just kind of talking into an empty room. But if you want to see a man's fall from grace, this man used to command crowds. And now to see him not even be able to command like an auditorium, bro, kind of sad. But the wrestling, I guess, is still kind of there. There was a couple spots in this match where I was like, oof, like, what are you guys doing? But overall, I would say Judge Charlie, solid wrestler, solid worker, can use a little bit more experience, but that's why he's in an indie promotion like this. Enzo, sad fall from grace, but I hope he gets back on his feet. Um, Besides that, we had a local show in the WWE. We had NXT New Year's Evil. I don't know if you got to watch the show, Rob.
I did not. I watched some of the highlights, so I know The Rock appeared on it. I know there were some titles that changed hands, so I am aware of what happened, but I haven't had the whole
Sick.
show. I am happy with one outcome. I know that you know who I'm talking about. I'm happy with two outcomes. I'll let you go ahead and take that.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that they were the belts, because that was the big thing of the night. I feel like this episode of NXT kind of had that big night feel without having it to be advertised. We had Roxanne versus Julia, and we had Oba versus Swerve versus, I forget his name. Um,
Rick Williams.
oh, it was Trick Williams, Oba, and there was a third person. I can't remember his name. Um, Anyways, that person at the beginning of the show got attacked, wasn't able to make the match. So it ended up just being kind of Swerve versus Oba for a while. Eddie Thorpe. There you go. My bad,
Eddie
Eddie.
Thorpe. Yes, yes,
My
yes.
bad, Eddie. I didn't mean to forget your name. Eddie Thorpe came in at a certain point of the match to try to fucking interfere, but it was too late. Oba is our new NXT champion. Julia defeats the towering Roxanne, which I'm glad because in all reality, I think it's time for Roxanne to move up. I feel like there's nothing for her to do left to do in NXT. But we had this sick moment towards the end of the night where Julia came out. Oba had just won. Julia came out. They were both holding up the championships. It was a sick moment. I wish that's where it would have ended. But of course, the fucking Pebble had to come make his fucking appearance. And honestly, it was a whole lot of nothing again. He came out, he did his little pandering, and then he went into the spiel about, oh, if I'm nice to Cody, people are mad. If I'm mean to Cody, people are mad. How about you shut the fuck up and enjoy the ride? Rock, the ride last time didn't end. Am I still supposed to be enjoying that one? Because you kind of just ended that on Monday Night Raw. So I have no idea what the fuck he came out here. He even had a promo segment beforehand with his daughter, who is the general manager, Ava, and he was like, I don't know what to say. I've never been here. Rock, you're probably the greatest on the fucking mic. What do you mean you don't know what to say to an NXT crowd? Brother, please don't come with me. Don't come to me.
Developmental.
Don't come to me with that bullshit, brother. You know what the fuck you're saying. These people look up to you to know what they want to say in the future. So don't come to me with that bullshit. This was completely stupid to me. It was like a segment that should have probably happened at the beginning of the show. This night should have ended with both championships being held up the way it was a couple seconds before it came out. I wish it would have ended that way, but in all importance, we have two new champions. I'm excited to see where NXT is going. Stephanie Vicaire has won her chance at the North American title, so maybe we're going to be strapping her up next. But overall, I would say that NXT put on a fucking banger of a show, and I'm excited to see where they go next. They're still on CW. I don't know if they have as much to prove as the bigger shows that are on bigger networks, but they're definitely putting the shit out there to make them be seen. Um, what are your thoughts on the new NXT champion? Since you know WWE is more your home base, did you approve of Oba winning? I'm pretty sure you did. Did you approve of Julia winning? Do you think The Rock should have came out earlier, or do you think his position at the night was perfect?
Listen, Obafemi, that's a real fucking wrestler. Rick Williams, he was only going to do so much with that title belt. It's over. The reign is done. He has bigger and better things to do up in the main roster. I think they're going to feed him to Carmelo. Carmelo's going to win this feud to start off his main roster debut. Um, and we're going to move on from there. But I think Trick did his thing with the belt as much as he could. But Obafemi, we saw what he did with the NXT North American belt. This is a real wrestler. He's a fucking a superstar. He's super young, so he has a little bit more time to develop, and I'm excited to see what he's gonna do and how he elevates the NXT championship because I don't know if there's anyone who is believable enough to take that off of him now in or on that roster. So we're gonna have to wait and see. And in terms of Julia winning, Roxanne Perez losing, I think this means that she's gonna debut at the Royal Rumble. She showed up last year at the Royal Rumble, if I remember correctly. She was one of the first couple entrants, especially, and she entered with Jordan Grace too. So I think the Rumble's gonna go back to having a few surprises. A few superstars will debut for the main roster. I think she's gonna be one of them. She had a great reign. She is the prodigy. She's put on banger after banger after banger up in NXT. So I think it's now time to move her up. And we now have the Intercontinental Championship, the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and the Women's United States belt. So there's room for Roxanne Perez to make her way up to that main roster and ripple some feathers and ruffle some feathers. And it should be a fun debut for her. Stephanie Vaquer, big fan. Big fan. I wish her the best of luck with the North American Championship belt. But big fan to say the least. Um for Rock showing up on NXT. Listen, I wanted to go to this show because it was in LA. It was in LA, it was at the Shrine. It was actually right across the street from my high school. Um so I wanted to go, but the previous day, I forgot to ask for my PTO. I made up a story. I said, "Hey, I'm a little sick, or I had a family emergency. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to finish the last 3 hours of my day. I had to leave. I left my work at home. So I couldn't make it to the Tuesday night's New Year's Evil. But The Rock showing up, it would have been nice to see him in that crowd just because it was so intimate. And see having a superstar of that magnitude there, I'm sure the NXT crowd and the fans loved it. In terms of him showing up though for Ava, his daughter, who is the GM, he was gonna strut his power a little bit, and I must say it must be cool, having a little show, your dad being The Rock, you're running things on NXT, and you get his little blessing. He comes down there, gives you a few segments. He is a board member, so as he mentioned, I just didn't appreciate. he always tries to like backtrack, you know, like what he did the night before. People were upset that he hugged Cody. He was doing the corporate guy shtick, and he went on to defend himself the next day. And it's just like, just let it go, bro. Just let it go. Because what are you telling us to shut the fuck up? Isn't like isn't like real heel work, you know? Like you're telling us to shut the fuck up because you're mad. You're dumb. Like you're mad that you just did some dumb shit and we're calling you out on it and you're telling us to shut up that you're dumb. No, that's not how that works. So just you do what you're if you're gonna go out and be corporate rock, then live with that decision. You made that
Mm-hmm.
decision. No one told you to go do that. You wanted to do that. Cool. We can appreciate it. As a fan, as someone who learned to, hate the final boss because you were being an actual like you were being a great heel. That was great heel work. Just kind of threw that a little bit away. And now you're upset that I'm upset that I was finally learning to like your bad guy. Like it just don't make no fucking sense. Just don't do that. You know, that's my only problem with it. But it is what it is. He's the Rock. I can't tell him shit. He could beat my ass. So fuck am I gonna do? But he showed up. He put some love to his daughter, who has been doing a solid job running NXT alongside Shawn Michaels. All in all, congratulations to Obafemi and Julia. I'm sure their title reigns are fun to watch. And I'm looking forward to seeing Trick Williams and Roxanne make it to the main roster.
Yeah, I think a lot of these superstars that are, ready to move up, we're going to see them pop at the Rumble. I feel like we have plenty of spots for them to take up. And I'm excited, there's a lot of people that have been talking up, down in NXT that I would love to see come up. You mentioned it, Roxanne popped at a previous Rumble. That was that was sick, of course, and I would love to see her pop at this Rumble. There's a couple other females I would love to see pop and for her to work with. So it'll be interesting seeing what happens at the Rumble or leading up to the Rumble. See if any of those NXT stars kind of start, losing screen time. Well, we can gauge it by that to see if they might be popping at the Rumble. But with that being said, that brings us to the end of this week's show. Rob, any closing statements before we call it a night?
Definitely. Just want to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope you spent the holidays well. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and you bring in New Year. You brought in the New Year with some loved ones, and you enjoyed your time. I'm excited that this year, 2025, is going to be a good year for wrestling. I hope. On Cena's farewell tour, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cena, Logan Paul, all these guys are going to be entering the Rumble. Should be a fun first pay per view of the year. And excited to keep doing this with you. So, happy New Year, everyone, and thank you for listening. I hope you guys.
Yeah, I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. Thank you for rocking us into the new year. We got a new season of this show coming out. Um, we'll be on it. On top of it, more than usual, we have a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, and we're excited to bring it to you. So, like always, like and subscribe to know that to let us know that you're still rocking with us. Other than that, wrestling's good right now. Wrestling's starting to get good, not only for WWE but also internationally. A lot of big stuff happening over in Japan with New Japan and Stardom. So it's a great time to get into the hobby of watching wrestling. Um, that'll do it for us this week. Until next week, we bid you guys a good night.